Hello and welcome back to Mark's NOTCAST. There's been a slight break in transmission. This is the first one I've done for about 3 weeks, and I'd like to apologise for the break. Firstly, obviously, a couple of you said, or more correctly, commented asking if I was doing okay because I hadn't uploaded for a while. Yes, I am. Thank you very much. Secondly, we are in the midst of a British heatwave, and that is something indeed. Thirdly, I've been extremely, very goddamn busy indeed, and I'll bring you up to speed on that. But before we get any further, today I am talking about Metallica's Load album, released in 1996, and perhaps more excitingly, for those of you that may or may not have committed to spending 200 something pounds on it, the very recent super duper mega crazy motherload deluxe edition box set reissue of that album. So what have I been up to? Well, I've been very busy. I've done a lot of travelling. So between the 30th of May and today, I saw Left Field at Brixton Academy. I saw Massive Attack and Air at Hackney Park in Victoria. I saw Sophie Ellis-Bextor, one of the finest living English women, at the Royal Albert Hall. I saw Ned's Atomic Dustbin at the Hare and Hounds in King's Heath. I went up to Edinburgh. I went back, I came back, and I saw Nine Inch Nails at the O2 Arena. They were fantastic. On the 22nd of June, I went to the Forever Now Festival at Milton Keynes, and I saw, deep breath and in no particular order, a whole bunch of bands, including Berlin, John McKay's Reactor, She Wants Revenge, Happy Mondays, Pill, Jesus and Mary Chain, The Damned, Billy Idol, not a fan, The Comedians, The Psychedelic Furs, Billy Idol, and Kraftwerk. Good God, I was quite tired at the end of that. Yes, indeed. I didn't see Death Cult because the stages were running late. By the time Jesus and Mary Chain came on stage, they were 41 minutes late. Jesus and Mary Chain only played 8 songs, and by the time Death Cult came on, it was clashing with Kraftwerk. Ralph is 79. I figured it was time to see Kraftwerk play what potentially could be their last ever British show in full, and I was 4 rows from the front, and that was quite an experience indeed. But yes, that was very, very busy. I've also been working. I've had a lot of work to do. And finally, we are in the midst of a British heatwave. So the temperature today in this room is 29 degrees. If you're watching this in America, you can probably go, easy peasy lemon squeezy. You have air conditioning. We don't. Also, this house was built in 1885, and the average temperature in 1885 in a British summer was 16.9 degrees. The average temperature in a British summer now, between June and August, is approximately 23 degrees. Today's temperature is 29 degrees, and in parts of Surrey, it is 34 degrees. Not only do we not have air conditioning, most British houses, especially the older ones, are designed to keep heat in. So, my God, I'm sweating like a pig doing a jig at the gig of the century. As Populate itself sang in Dance of the Mad Bastards. And therefore that means that I am, amongst many other things, somewhat stupidly wearing my hottest t-shirt, my Metallica Load sports jersey from 1996. And I have quite a lot of band t-shirts, as you already know. But I try to watch things that are appropriate for each particular episode that I'm doing. So, talking about it, we have Metallica's Load. First and foremost, this came out a couple of weeks ago, and rather than rush release an unboxing and go, oh, I've had it 10 seconds and it's amazing, I would rather sit and let it percolate through my ears for a good several hours before I do any reviews about it or before I do an unboxing. So here we go. It's come to this, an unboxing video, Metallica's Load, in special Metallica packing tape. Boy, they're a band that don't do things by halves, are they? And we take this out. We have some, and here's one I've made earlier. Some nice fluffy foam that keeps the box in place. And the box itself is quite a beastie. But before we get to talking about the box, which means I'm going to protect the shift out there, a handy little hidden extra for all of you super geeky types is the Metallica logo in there and the phrase "the whole kitchen sink" inside your special Metallica exclusive cardboard box. Well worth the money, I'm sure you'll think. With retail prices going between £224 and £279, Load is by any definition and any standard a beast, the genuine motherload itself. Each one of the Metallica box sets really is the gold standard of how to release a single album formatted set. And although Load is, and no disrespect to any redheaded stepchildren by the way, often regarded as the redheaded stepchild of Metallica albums, apart from the Lou Reed collaborative album Lulu, and was therefore instantly made obsolete by the release of the subsequent Reload album. Load is an album that I have come to really appreciate over the past few weeks, not least because there are 15 CDs, 4 DVDs and 6 slabs of vinyl in here, as well as a book and a whole bunch of other memorabilia in a package that weighs a whopping £15. That's right, if you have children, this album almost definitely weighs more than your child did when he or she was born. You won't love this as much as you love your children, though. Well, most people. Each of the Metallica box sets is numbered, and the authentic ones have this holographic seal of authenticity. Not that anyone would want to bootleg these because they don't sell enough copies. There are 20,000 copies of Load. This is 12,294. There are, I think, 30,000 of Master of Puppets, 25,000 of And Justice for All, 35,000 of the Black Album, and the Master of Puppets set is the one that's most expensive currently on Discogs at about £700. The other ones, if you look around, you can all get near enough to RRP, and there are still copies on the shelves. Load is, because it is one of the most limited, possibly the one that will rise most in value, but if you buy it just to keep it sealed on a shelf, you're wasting this box set, because this is a genuinely interesting and fascinating package. So let's go in, shall we? I haven't done an unboxing for a while. I'm not quite sure how successful this is going to be. There is a magnetic sealed strip that keeps the box in place, and the first thing in here is the album Load itself, available on double vinyl pressed at the Metallica press, a reproduction apart from the barcode of the original 1996 edition, which means it has the lyric sheets. It doesn't have specific inner sleeves, it just has paper inner sleeves. And if I remember correctly, and I haven't actually listened to this vinyl version, this may be a unique edition of the album. It might contain the unencumbered by manufacturing restrictions version of the Outlaw Torn on vinyl and CD for the first time. But is it a good album? Well, I've come to think of Load as more being like the equivalent of U2's Acton Baby for Metallica, but not quite as successful, with Reload being the subsequent Zeropa, the album recorded on tour. It's good, and between this and Reload, you have one fucking amazing Metallica album, but on their own you have too many songs and perhaps not enough focus necessarily for the album itself. I have another full Load rundown elsewhere when I was talking about the entire of Metallica's discography. I won't repeat myself too much through that. There are some fantastic songs on here that I wish the band would bring back to their set lists, specifically Ain't My Bitch, 2x4, Hero of the Day, Bleeding Me. Mama Said's quite good actually. And of the tracks on the album, I've seen them play Until It Sleeps, and I think I've seen them play Bleeding Me, actually. I missed a chance to get them to see Outlaw Torn, which is a shame. But there are some great songs in here. Where Load does suffer is twofold. Firstly, it is lyrically unfocused. There's a lot of repetition amongst the lyrics. So the lyrics were the thing that were written last. So there's a lot of lyrics which are about the same subjects from slightly different angles. And the second one is, as cliches at the time said, the album should have been called Alternatica, because it's not really very metal, it's very alternative. But there you are, the second album set that's released in here. 3 vinyl discs, Loadapalooza 1996, recorded live at the Irvine Meadows Amphitheatre, Irvine, on August the 4th, 1996. Some of these tracks on here were used as CD single B-sides in America. So, for example, we have, I think there was on the B-side of King Nothing, I think Ain't My Bitch was a live track, and I think there was a couple of other live tracks that were also elsewhere on here. Triple vinyl, the pressing is fantastic, the mastering is brilliant. This is the original 1996 mix that was prepared, so the whole show was mixed and prepared for release or radio broadcast at the time, and then hived off for individual B-sides. This is a great show, really interesting, but it is a headliner for a festival. It is therefore only, I think, 18 songs long, as opposed to a full Metallica show, which is something like 29 songs. That said, it does get appearances for Ain't My Bitch, King Nothing, and Until It Sleeps from the album. alongside a guest appearance by Lemmy of the Motorheads, doing a cover of Motorhead's Overkill, and boy, that one slays. So this is a great live album, very well done, very interesting. Of course, there are about another 7 live albums that are released inside this set, but not only that, you get the Mama Said reproduction 7-inch of the UK picture disc single, the vinyl format on there. I have the UK 7-inch picture disc as well. The only difference between this and that is that this has, I think, no barcode. Yes, Ain't My Bitch live at the Irvine Meadows Amphitheatre is on the B side of the 7-inch. There's also, I think, a version of something that's on the King Nothing American CD single from Irvine Meadows. And what does this tell you you've got? Well, 1,839 minutes, 31 seconds of live Metallica, 15 CDs, 6 LPs, 4 DVDs, 245 unreleased tracks and loads more, a picture disc, a triple live LP, 6 CDs of demos and rough mixes, B-sides and rarities, 8 live CDs, 4 live and behind the scenes DVDs, deep breath, lyric folder, lyric live poster, magazine cover print, 2 tour laminates, Rosarch test cards, 5 guitar bass picks, a patch and a book. Oh my god, this thing's enormous. And if you want to see, this is just a list of all the tracks that's on there. This is practically the length of T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland, indeed. So, album cover print. If you've ever wanted an album cover print reproduction of Rolling Stone, well, there you go. There's Metallica for you. There's a poster, which is here, which is only A3, fold out. This is the Lollapalooza poster for the show at Gormley Stadium in New Orleans. Which obviously I wasn't at because I hadn't seen Metallica at that point, nor had I been to America. You get the lyrics folder as well. So this is the reproduction of the handwritten lyrics that James was singing off for each of the songs on the album. Not quite sure how useful these are, but it's good to have them, I guess. It's better to have them than not to have them, and to see what the lyrics actually are. Although sometimes, of course, you get to see songs like Cure, which was originally called Believe. Ain't My Bitch was called Bitch, for example. Poor Twisted Me was called Dusty. Wasting My Hate was called Streamline. These are, they're interesting, but really, if you're interested in seeing how the cake is cooked and how the lasagna is made, this is the interesting stuff. It's things like the lyric drafts, and then you've got obviously some notes that are on the back there, some doodles around top 10 things Christmas means to me, for example, by James. You then get a 128 page book. This is a beastie. Let's go in here. 128 pages of, here's perhaps a photo that you will have seen, some Anton Corbijn photography, text by Bob Rock, some recording photographs there, some more text. This one's by, I'm going to try and read this upside down, Mike Frazier, who is mixer of the album, not fixer, mixer. Some photos of tracking sheets. Paul DeCarli, who is doing press. Zach Harmon, who was backline tech and equipment manager for the band, writing an essay about that. Some stuff about the video there for, I think that's King Nothing was shot in the snow, wasn't it? And then some other photos. This is some stuff about the band playing Tuck in 1995 in a tent to 900 people. Jason Newsted on the Load Experience, so the band's bass player at the time, a man who has more metal in his veins than Wolverine or Dave Grohl, come to think of it. And some stuff about some ridiculous photos that the band were trying out there, different looks, different visions. Some stuff about the band playing Donington, escaping from the studio in 1995. Some more stuff, some more photos. You can see the band trying to make their own image, really, and recast themselves in a kind of Actung Baby world. We have Andres Serrano, who did the art for Load and Reload. He also did a controversial piece of work called Piss Christ, which was a statue of Christ suspended in a sea of piss. Classy. There's Greg Thompson, the former EVP and GM of Elektra Records on marketing and promoting the Load album. It's including things like the Motherload TV show that was broadcast on MTV, some stuff about the touring, and some photos. And this might be the stunt guy actually on the destruction part of the show. So this is a guy that was set on fire 100 times during the shows. Then we had, who else was he? Tour managers and all this type of stuff. So nothing by anyone that actually is currently a member of the band. But it's an interesting kind of snapshot and idea about what's going on in Metallica at this period of time. When you make an album as big as the Black Album and you sell squillions and squillions of copies, as Jason Newsted says, what do you do after that? When you know you don't have to worry necessarily about being, you know, financial security, going back to playing theatres, you're made for life. And at that point, you're then suddenly at the point where you start to think about things that are higher up on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Things like, you know, ego, fulfillment, all those type of things. Where do you sit in those? Do you do what works last time because you like more money and more acclaim? Or are you actually going to regard that as being set free from the pressures of everyday life and going somewhere else? So what you have then is your CDs, and oh boy, there are a lot of these. You get Load as an album itself in a gatefold sleeve. This gatefold sleeve on the CD is not the gatefold sleeve that was on the original vinyl, by the way. So this is a new gatefold sleeve on your CD there for Load. Going a bit further in, you get, what's this? Shadowcast discs 1 and 2. So this is riffs, demos, rough mixes, rehearsals. You get 5 CDs, good God, 5 CDs of the band kind of learning their way through the material on these 5 CDs. And it's absolutely fascinating to see the album being formed in front of your eyes and ears. This is 6.5 hours of Metallica writing the songs on tape for you. So on the first CD, you get the approximately 30 or so, 29 demos and riff tapes, and just riffs and bits, and each song is made out of bits that are welded together and put together. So it's really interesting to hear how those bits of those songs come together. Then on your second CD there, you have 12 demos, some of which were previously released on one of the fan cans. So for example, although you get maybe 6 demos that were released on the fan can, you also get at least 6 previously unreleased songs. So for example, previously unreleased demos are Bleeding Me, which is called Boss, The Thorn Within, which is called Guilty, Egypt, which is a house that Jack built, a version of Mama Said, the Blue and the Grey and the Red, which is an early version of Ronnie, Poor Twisted Me, FOBD, which is Fuck Off Bitch Die, apparently, which is the vocal idea for Until It Sleeps, another version of Ain't My Bitch, and another version of Wasting My Hate, which is known as Streamline on there. These are really, really interesting to hear. But if you're the kind of guy like me who likes watching all the DVD extras, and unsurprisingly, I'm one of those guys, this is absolutely essential listening. Then you get 3 and 4. Discs 3 and 4 have early takes and versions of 2x4, Thorn Within, when it was called NC-17, Cure, when it was called Believe, King Nothing, when it was called Load, The House That Jack Built, Poor Twisted Me, Ronnie, Bleeding Me, a track called Mouldy, which is an early version of Hero of the Day. Mouldy was, I believe, on one of the singles of Hero of the Day here, which was called Mouldy because it reminded the band of Husker Du and therefore Bob Mould. We also have Outlaw Torn, Mama Said, Fuck Off Bitch Die, again, FOBD, Mama Said, and Streamline Jack Bitch. Basically, lots of songs get repeated in various evolutions as the band play them in the studio, learn them, think about, does that vocal go there? Does that vocal go there? Do we put a guitar there? And then various compilations. And then the 5th disc, by the way, this is 6.5 hours of demos. It's a lot of material. And I listened to it all in sequence in one go, and my God, it gets punishing. Has early versions of and alternate mixes of King Nothing, Ain't My Bitch, Hero of a Day, Bleeding Me, Mama Said, Ronnie, Wasting My Hate, King Nothing, again an alternate version of King Nothing, again Ronnie, Jack, and Outlaw Torn. So that is 5 CDs of bonus stuff. You also get a live CD, Escape from the Studio, 1995, first official release for the Live at Donington 1995 set, where the band played 2 shows outside of the studio to break up the middle of their recording sessions and to keep them fresh, featuring not live premieres but very early live performances of 2x4 and Devil's Dance, which later appeared on the Reload album, and also the Kill and Ride medley as well. This also features 2 songs recorded live at the London Astoria in 1995, 2x4 and Devil's Dance on there as well. So the Astoria 95 was the warm-up for Donington. You get this here, Club Shows and Rehearsals. So Club Shows and Rehearsals is 2 live shows plus I think some extra rehearsal activity. So the 2 live shows are one live at San Francisco Slims from 1996, originally released in a truncated form on the Fan Can number 2. Here's the CD from Fan Can number 2, by the way. And then also a radio session for, and let me just quickly check, WMMS 100.7 Coffee Break Concert. So doing a 30-minute live set on radio, and then 2 or 3 rehearsals in Hun sound of Wasting My Hate and so on. So this is, yeah, really good live album. But if you're like me and you love live albums, you are quids in here. But if you don't like live albums, oh boy, you've got a disappointing box set ahead of you. We also have B-sides and rarities. So this features the 5 Motorhead covers. 6 actually, come to think of it. Plus a radio edit of Mama Says, a remix of Outlaw Torn, the Moby mix of Until It Sleeps, the Out of B-Sides remix by Kevin Keys of Hero of the Day, a Tepid mix by KMFDM of King Nothing, and an unreleased alternate mix of Hero of the Day alongside the live version of Mama Said, one of only 2 or 3 live performances of Mama Said they're recorded for later live with Rinky Dink Jules Holland. We then get Poor Norwegian Me. So this was recorded at the Oslo Spectrum in Oslo, Norway on November the 23rd, 1996. So a full live set there, plus 3 extra songs recorded live at rehearsals at the Birmingham NEC, being Bleeding Me, Until It Sleeps, and The House That Jack Built. Tired yet? Oh, there's more to come. Just when you think you're out, they pull you back in. There's only about another 6 discs to go. We have Poor Touring Me, 96 to 97, a compilation of soundboard recordings. Now, at this point, Metallica were recording every single live show, and I think videoing almost all of them, if not all of them. So this features effectively a reproduced version of the live set list with a couple of rarities that's in there, recorded at, amongst other places, lots of other places actually, lots of different shows all across the tour, and also featuring a version of Fuel, which was introduced late in the tour, which was from the upcoming album Load. Then you get 4 DVDs, in case that isn't enough. So this features what's called Studio Shit and UK rehearsals. These are on uploaded onto YouTube. Features rehearsals at the plant, writing in Lars Dungeon, a week and a half in the life of Metallica when they played at the Astoria, a sound check, live video of 2x4 and Devil's Dance from the Astoria, some more stuff live at Castle Donington, then live versions of Kill, Ride, Medley and Devil's Dance from Donington, just in case you thought you hadn't got enough. That's about 2 hours of live Metallica and demo stuff and studio stuff that's taken from the fan cans, including, I think, a studio performance of Outlaw Torn. You then get the Polar Beach Party. So a couple of weeks later, the band headlined a small tent in Toyatuck, Canada, to about 900 people. And that features a 17-song live set plus a sound check and some documentary footage, about half an hour of documentary footage. Undoubtedly some questionable attitudes there. Then we get Poor Swedish Me, a full live set recorded in the Globe, the Stockholm Globe, on November the 16th, 1996. Full professionally shot mixed show from the indoor European leg of the tour. I haven't seen this enough. I've seen this once. Great live show. And then finally, TV appearances and other shit. So demos, what was called the MTV Motherload. So the band played a contest winners party in Aberdeen, I believe it was, of all places, and broadcast that on MTV, and then that is on here alongside TV appearances for the BBC of Hero of the Day, Wasting My Hate, Mama Said, King Nothing, Last Caress and So What for the MTV Music Awards, a Swedish TV version of Mama Said, and a version of King Nothing for the American Music Awards. Quite enormous. The Polar Bear Beach Party, which is not there, somewhere else, was also, by the way, released as one of the so-called fan cans. So you now have a DVD upgrade of it. There is also, put technically, some other crap in here. So what do we have? We have the Rose Arch ink blot tests here, which I've not opened because I don't see much point doing that. We have a patch of the Screaming Skull, 5 Metallica plectrums, and a Poor Touring Me set of reproduction passes. So that is your Load Super Duper mega box set by Metallica. Is it worth 200 and something pounds? Well, as with all box sets, it depends how much you love the band. If you love the band, sure, it's absolutely not a waste of money at all. If, like me, you like to treat yourself and you like to get stuck deep undercover into absolutely everything, it really is the full enchilada. If, on the other hand, you perhaps have a life, friends, children, etc., and have a healthy cynicism, most of the live stuff is on YouTube. Just give it a listen on there. You'll be absolutely fine. You'll do absolutely fine. You won't need to buy the box set. In fact, I don't need to buy the box set. The reason I bought the box set is because, 1, I can, and 2, I want to, and I can afford it. And if I couldn't afford it, I wouldn't do it. Before any of you get too carried away in making terrible statements about how I set fire to my money, which I know at least one of you, get a life, does. You know, you make sacrifices. And part of those sacrifices is your time, and in turn you exchange that for money, and in turn you exchange the money for things that you'd like to own and experience. That's how capitalism works. Do I like it? No, but that's the reality of the situation. So there you go. That is the Metallica Load box set. Criticisms, not many. I would have liked to have had another full-length live show from the American Indoor Tour, and I know that Salt Lake City 1997 was uploaded onto YouTube, so that would have been quite nice. It would have been quite nice to have had the soundtrack to the Cunning Stunts live DVD released on vinyl, but I suspect that's coming in the Reload set. And there's some of the other demos which were recorded at the same time that are almost definitely going to be on the Reload set that were in Fan Can 2. Reproduction releases. The Until It Sleeps red vinyl 10-inch is very, very nice and was only released in the UK. That would have been quite nice that's in there. Also, only released in the UK, as far as I can recall, the Hero of the Day embossed 12-inch, which has which would make a nice little extra that's in there, but is not necessary. There's loads of live shows that were recorded around this time that are not on the box set, including this one, which I think is Copenhagen, which was released as a bootleg vinyl, and loads of other shows as well. But ultimately, how many live shows is too many? Well, the answer is, when it comes to Metallica live shows, you can never have too many, and sometimes even one is too many indeed. So that is my capsule review and unboxing of the Load box set. Nobody does the gold standard of individual album box sets better than Metallica. They are expensive, they are extravagant, they are excessive, and they are excellent. And I do recommend them if you are a fan of the band. If you're not, of course, save your money and spend it on something far, far nicer that will last you longer. God knows what. But there you are. Right. That's it for now. Hopefully it won't be 3 weeks until I do the next one of these. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves and each other. Stay beautiful. And I will see you all soon. Thank you very much. Okay. Bye-bye.